Do you want to know for sure, 100%, if you are truly enlightened, you're really fully awakened already? Because you may have some experiences on how your life has shifted. And you're right, it did. But there's still something that is not completely there. You want to know how to do it? I'm going to tell you right away. I'm not going to make you wait till the end of this speech. If you still hold resentment, or you still look down to anyone, you're still not there. And that's a hard truth. It is really hard because, for example, in my case, that is the case of many people. When I was younger, at some point, I was really feeling all these ecstatic, incredible shifts in understanding, and my life was changing so radically, so profoundly that I feel even disconnected with people around me. It seems like normal people wouldn't understand what I understand and so on. But as I said before, something was still lingering. Like you could tell my awakening wasn't stable. So I keep digging, and I went to literally every guru, every teacher that I could ever meet. And I'm talking about literally every tradition, from Hindu, yoga, Buddhism, Christianism, anything, literally. I was really looking for how does it look. I want to be around people who really know for real what this is. And I thought it had to do a lot with what they were teaching, how they were teaching. So I was just observing every little detail about their being to see why they were different, in which way, what was the magic, what was the secret. And to my surprise, after a long period of time, I'm talking about probably 10 years that it took me to realize this, and visiting many different peoples, suddenly just struck me. It was the way they were talking about everyone else. You know, you have these teachers, for example. I think a great example of this is Osho. He's obviously a very brilliant person, was a very brilliant person. And he's certainly awakened. He certainly has an understanding that most people don't. And yet, you can see by the way these gurus and these people talk about others, when there's still some slight resentment, especially when you feel better than them. If you feel better than anyone else around you, I can promise you you're still not awakened. That cannot happen. So in my case, when I came to that conclusion, then I started my trip to actually do a more connecting kind of awakening, rather than just me meditating or having certain interesting points about what reality is, or all these that are part of for some of us, it's part of our path, and it's important that you develop that. But in the contrary, the most important thing is when you go back home, when you see the people in the street, when the people you're working with. These are your real mirrors of understanding. So there you have it. Have everything. Just yesterday, I was advising someone who had a tremendous awakening experience. He actually went on LSD and meditated for a long time. And he just everything just opened wide for him. And it certainly did, I know. But what I suggested him, it was a bit counterintuitive, I would say, because the point wasn't really talk about all that, which is, I believe, and I'm super happy to be supporting this person and being with this person. But at the same time, I didn't know how to approach this topic. Is that sometimes the high of all this experience, of all this awakening, it makes you feel special, it makes you feel different. And that's the part where you see the whole trap is bringing you down to your knees again. And your fear is crawling back into you. So that's the ultimate secret. And it's tough, man. It is really, really tough. If you have honestly tried to be kind to other people, especially sometimes the people who are closest to you, let's say your family in Christmas, or people who you don't like much, people in your work, people you take them for granted. Especially, I think this is the biggest mirrors you're going to have to know the day you have completely release your sense of separation, your duality, your you versus the world, your victimism, your irrational fear. So you want to test it, you can do it now. You don't even need to go and do anything. You just sit there and just for a second think about someone who you can't stand, someone you don't like, and just like this dog in here right now. No, the dogs are playing actually. But you know what I mean? When you go through your day and you are interacting with someone and you feel a little above them, you feel that you're some way thinking that you're better than them in any way, even in the slightest sense that I'm so cool or I'm so good, or it could be the slightest sense of, even feel even positive, but there's a pride to it. So especially going back to the awakening point, if you're on the path to awakening and you have these glimpses, this is probably one of the best things you can do to actually take on your relationships. And close level, but also at large. How do you feel about humanity? If you think humanity is scum, if you think humanity is, well, you're thinking that about yourself. That's the hard truth. So you still don't have unconditional love. And unconditional love is probably one of the clear pointers. I'm not saying it's the only thing, but it's certainly, if you ask me, the marker that you will see in yourself, in your mind, the way you think about others, the way you treat others, of course. That's the way you will know if your awakening is finally stable. But if you find yourself, as I do, sometimes, oh, why I'm reacting like that? You find yourself back into that trap. And just be patient and keep doing what you're doing. Just don't take it for granted that just because your life may be beautiful and you may be living in abundance and you've been experiencing bliss all the time, and yet just the fact that you think that there's something in you, this is not exactly the same thing as what is in anyone else, that is telling you this is a trace of you versus the world. And that's the ultimate trap. So if you figure out that from the very beginning, you're gonna be safe. You're gonna get there a lot quicker. And you're gonna realize that in the end, it was all so simple. Just be kind to people. And you will be kind to yourself if you're kind to people, eventually. Or be kind to yourself, and you will be kind to people. It's just the same act. So that is real enlightenment. For that, you may need to do some cleaning. And for that, most of us, if not, actually, I'm going to say it, actually everyone, do some sort of meditation. And by meditation, I'm not trying to tell you should do this, you should do that. I'm saying spending time with your body and your mind still. And that's the way you figure out all these hidden patterns that seem to be so difficult to let go in the day-to-day life. You just do this kind of reset to them. You just stay there and you see them dissolve. And when you go back and follow your life again, you realize that you're more detached and your natural kindness flows up easier without any effort, without any, oh, I should be good. I should do good things about people. I should be grateful. That you don't even need to do that if you just spend time deeply looking at yourself with no movement in your mind, with no movement in your body. That's meditation.